Hello, welcome to this Write With Me session with me, Samantha, on the Many Parts YouTube channel. We are on day 5 of our 7-day writing prompt journey. Each day we are writing together with a writing prompt, doing a warm up, and then we use the session to do what we'd like. I also would love for you to join in either in the comments on the replay or on the chat and let us know what you are writing, what you're working with. And I'll also remind you that I do have a 7-day writing prompt journey on Skillshare, which gives you structure and it gives you prompts to work with, along with videos on how best to work with writing prompts and ideas of what you can do with your material afterwards. So each day we have a theme based on the day. It is September the 5th, a Friday, and as it's Friday, it's Venus Day. Vendredi in French is Venus Day. Venus is associated, as we know, with love and relationships, beauty. Venus is also associated with wealth, money, and value. It's associated with not only the value of objects and material objects, it's also our self-worth and what we value in life. I am an INFP, a attribute of the INFP personality, that's the INFP personality on the MBTI Myers-Briggs personality test type, is INFPs are driven by our values, what is key to us in this world. I'd love to know what your MBTI type is. I know that there are some NFPs subscribe to this channel. I have made a few videos about being an INFP. In fact, I've made a video about being an INFP and how I got started writing related to my experience of being an INFP, how writing helped me bring out my ideas. Many INFPs are creative people. I believe we're all creative beings. We are. INFPs. There are many writer INFPs. Get it going into our imaginations, fantasy. So something else we've been doing in the 7-day writing prompt journey is checking in with the collective energy. So when we're working with creativity, it's not only ourselves that we're working with, we're also working with creative energies around us, working in response to what we experience in the world, our own experiences, and it can also be what is in our environment around us. Do you ever have that when you're in life, when you're walking along, you notice something, you can connect it to something else? And then that can also feed into creativity. What I've noticed doing these prompts this week is quite often I'll be doing the prompt, and then when I read it back, I notice what I've been talking about and what I've been writing about in that day. And what I've been writing about happens to be connected to what's happened in the day. All these experiences are informing us all the time, and we're never alone in life. We're never alone in our creativity. We always have the surrounding energies. And I like to use this deck, this oracle deck, oracle cards that have messages on them. I use this one, Angels and Ancestors. It was created by Kyle Gray. The artwork is by Lily Moses. And I draw a card each day at the beginning of these sessions to check in with what energies are surrounding us. And also they act as a response, something to respond to, like a prompt. Okay. Earth Guardian, stay rooted and grounded. It's interesting that's come up again. Yesterday, it hasn't come up again, we haven't had this card before. Yesterday we had the mountains also. So the idea is staying grounded. Earth, earthy, we are in this earth right now. And staying rooted and grounded is so important when we are working with our imagination, and also when we are working with spirit as well. And that can be in whatever way. I don't mean if that doesn't work for you and if that's off-putting to you, don't take it on with all of this. Just go with whatever feels right to you, of course. What I mean by that is when we're working with, say, creative energy, it is important to stay also rooted in this world. And the more that we are rooted here, the higher we can go, because we have that solid foundation, so that we're not just floating off and it becomes nebulous. And we're here, and then we can also connect to there and bring it together to work out what is happening. I guess that can be one form, one reason for creativity. We all have our own reasons for creating, but it can at times be a way to create an anchor for and our perspective of how we see the world, what's going on, making sense of it if we even need to make sense of it, but sharing our expression, sharing our experience. Okay, so let's move on to our writing prompt exercise now. As I've been saying through this week, it's to get us in the flow, working with a writing prompt where you can either go the prompt that I suggest for the day or choose your own prompt, or some people using the Skillshare class that I offer and the prompts on there. It's a way to warm up. It's a way to go, oh, I haven't done any writing today. I haven't been using that part of my brain. I haven't even been, say, using my hands in that way. If we're writing with a pen and paper, for example, it gets us moving and in the motion. And then, as you know, as we're practiced with anything, it helps us to continue. I've used the comparison of working with exercise before, where we get into exercise. And I think another comparison could be with meditation. For me, I really relate to that. When I very first started meditating, in 2017, and it was not fun. And it was not easy at all. I was like, I'm not very good at this meditation thing. I don't think I'm going to carry on doing it. What I realized is it's a practice, and the more I practiced it, the more opened up to me, and the easier I found to do it, and the easier I found to go back to it. And we've all heard that there are benefits to meditation. Maybe you have a meditation practice yourself, let me know. I found that the more that I did it as a practice, it started to become second nature, like anything, and something that I will, return to during the day, whether as a practice or at times I go, oh, I know that right now I could do with taking 5 minutes. I will sit down and do the meditation and let whatever comes up come up. It's not about being perfect, as you know, if you're someone who meditates. It's not about being the perfect meditator and having these, making sure that it goes a certain way. And that's just like with our writing right now. It doesn't have to go a certain way. It's the motion of it. It's doing the motion with no expectations. So today, on this beautiful Venus day, the prompt I'm going to be working with is, what do I value? So we're writing, hello to people joining us. We're doing a writing prompt exercise right now. I'll offer you a prompt. If you want to write with me for 4 minutes, do. And the prompt is, what do I value? Of course, you can go with whatever prompt you want to, whether it's on the themes of Venus and Friday or not. Whatever you feel like writing about 4 minutes, let's do it. Oh, we're at 4 minutes. There we go. So we had our 4 minutes writing. Excellent. And let's read back what we've written. And remember, if you feel safe to do so, you're in a confidential space, then you can read what you've written out loud. Of course, if you ever feel like sharing it with someone who you trust, then you could do that as well. as we were writing, it came to me about this Earth Guardian as well. And again, about value and objects and how we are surrounded by so many beautiful worldly objects. They could be human made as well. Humans make beautiful objects. And how, as I was saying before, how we can write with them and work with them, working with objects, I find can be something that can inform writing. So one of the first short film I made, I first wrote it as a short story, and then I wrote it as a short play and I performed it, 20-minute play, at a new writing night that I was selected for. And then I turned it into a short film. It's called ID Please. It's on my YouTube channel. And it's about a woman who steals a wallet. Ooh, I personally never stolen an object in my life, as far as I can remember. Doesn't always have to be an object we steal though, does it? Still other things, still people's energy. Did you not intentionally, but we can steal things that are not necessarily objects. However, back to the point about objects. Now, when I came to write it, the reason why I was inspired to write it was because I was out and I was in a pub, I think, and someone stole my wallet. As far as I know, when I got home, I didn't have that wallet anymore. And it got me thinking, oh, I wonder if someone found my wallet, what they would think about me based on the contents of my wallet. There's all those things in there, IDs or photos of people, again, money. It's going back to Venusian themes. And I decided to write from the perspective of someone who does the stealing of the wallet, so working with this object. And it was I was on a writing course at the time. I was doing my master's of research in modern contemporary writing. And I also was doing a creative writing module at the time as part of the master's. And our task for that week was to write a short story. So I wrote about this stealing wallet. And I noticed at the end, I had very much been influenced by my environment. A lot of the things that came to life were things that were around me. And so I think working with objects and working with the material, so whether that's natural objects, human-made objects, working with the material world can very much help. Even if we're going into fantasy, in that film, in fact, it was magical realism. The character goes into fantasy. Being anchored in this world and the materials that we have available to us and are surrounding us can very much help. I also find going for walks and noticing what's there, what symbols, signs come up to me, and how I respond to them. I think working with oracle cards as well, they present something to us, and then it's how I individually respond to that. How do I relate to that? Working with a prompt as well, very much working around these ideas. I have another video on my YouTube channel about things I've learned about love in the time when I was single. And I had gone for a walk. I remember I'd had this idea for the video. It was 3 things that I wanted to talk about, I valued, about my time of being single and also what I'd learned about relationships whilst not being in a relationship with another person. I remember making a video and I started it, and then I felt like, well, I had a dentist appointment. I thought I did, and then I didn't. But it took me out on a walk anyway. And when I was going out on the walk, I came across all these ideas, well, all these objects, and the objects sparked something in me that I could relate to as to what I was trying to express. So they gave me something material to cling on to help as a vessel to help me express this idea, this nebulous idea that I had. that I wanted to get out there. So that's what can help us in terms of working with objects. I wonder if, so tomorrow is Saturday, and here's an idea, take it or leave it, to go for a walk on Saturday during the day before our writing session, if it works out the times for you, and see what you come across. Any unusual objects or usual. I think it can be very fun working with very ordinary, mundane, the mundane material world, and see what it makes, see what it comes up for you, because we all come across these objects all the time, but they're going to spark different ideas for different people because, as I keep saying, we all had different experiences. And it'll be fascinating. Your experience will be fascinating because, again, with objects, it is something material that we can all relate to, although you're going to put your unique twist on it. If one person sees a water bottle, they might think of something. If another person sees a water bottle, they might think of something else. And then you could go with these colors, the type of water bottle, whatever it is. You could take a room of 30 people and they will all have a different response. That's what I found with writing prompts. When I was in the room, classroom of 30 people, we'd all begin the same prompt. It would be something completely different. And this idea of working with objects in the material world, again, we're going to see the same object, we're going to see something different. Right, well, that has taken us up to 23 minutes and 27 seconds. I would also like us, if you want to use this session, if you're watching it on the replay, you can take this session to do whatever you want now. I was going to use it for a little bit of time today. Again, working with something material and object. I hadn't thought of this, but I'm working in a slightly different way today. So earlier I was having some ideas and for a writing project, and the ideas were coming out to me more as scenes than quite often work in that kind of way, like I've seen images and a particular either image or dynamic come out for people as scenes. I work a bit more in the kind of screenwriting realm that seems to at the moment come more naturally to me. And I like to write with these cards. So if I have an idea, I'd write it down on a card, like using different color cards as well. And so I'd get the scene out onto one of those, and I can use this board here. I was taking Mindy Kaling's masterclass earlier in the year. Look at this. You know what a cool board is. Just to give you that material object example in this world that we're in right now. She was saying that every project she does before she goes down, she will use the cards and the corkboard and map it out first before she goes and writes it. And I thought, oh yeah, let's give that a go. And it seems to work well for me. I did it for a script again earlier in the year, and I really liked working that way. So yeah, earlier I was having some ideas, some scenes. We don't have too much longer. Maybe you have already been using this time whilst I've been talking to work on your project, which is great. Go for it. Do that. Use this time. I think time blocking is a wonderful technique. Just to go, I've got 30 minutes. I'm going to take this time just to write down. When I very first started writing, I would do that. I just got I said in the first session, I got a particular book, journal notebook, to do this, to write it out to myself. I had no notebook, and then in my diary, I would write to myself. On this day, I will write for, and I'd put 30 minutes, and then I would keep to it. And then I would write for 30 minutes, and at the end I would write how it felt and what the session was like and where I wrote. So I would start building up for myself an idea of how I was writing, how it was working for me. Okay, so I'm just going to take, how long have we got left? We've got about 3 minutes left. So in those 3 minutes, I'm just going to get some ideas for scenes down, and do whatever you want in these 3 minutes. Okay, those are things that I'd already had in the works or ideas, and I didn't write them down earlier, so I've done that now. And we have a little bit of time left. I want to say thank you for joining me on this 7 days. Wow, we are on day 5. Excellent. Venus Day completed it. We've only got 2 more days left now. Um, Thank you so much for joining me. And also thank you, my light's going. And thank you also for the new subscribers to this channel. It's lovely to have you here. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Also, please do like this video, and it'd be great to hear from you in the comments too. And I hope you enjoy your walk if you go out for your walk, and have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, or morning. And you know what? Even if you don't go out for that walk, it will be interesting to see what you notice in whatever environment you are in. Thank you. Bye.